Hey guys, how we doing? Today I'm going to do a short video quick here on the Sun Dolphin two-man bass boat. Now I know I've done 2 or 3 videos over the years. I did one when I started. I did one about 3 years later and stuff, but I really wanted to sit down. I get a lot of questions. A lot of people I'm thinking of buying one, or I've just bought one. What do I need here? How do you do that? So I thought it's time to sit down. I'm going to do a video how it's totally set up, how I have everything set up, and why I set it up the way I did. Why, over the years of fishing now of it, have I found this is the best way to do it. All right? Now, if you are not a subscriber, I'm going to suggest you subscribe, and the reason is you'll find tons of videos on the Sun Dolphin two-man bass boat. If that's what interests you, that's why you're here, subscribe, because there's going to be a lot of videos on it. All right, 8-foot Sun Dolphin two-man bass boat. Basic setup. We're going to start, let's start that in the back with the power supply. Let's start in the battery. Not so much that it matters what battery, as much as for me, the battery box. I bought the biggest battery box I could buy, put the battery in, and I've got space on the end. Now you'll see on the end here, I have 2 pieces of PVC pipe. Those are 1.5 inch PVC, cut off about 1 inch or 2 above the box. 1 bolt is all that's required to hold those into place. Those will become rod holders. So I wanted to make sure my battery box was oversized. I wanted to be able to carry as many rods as I can and still not have them get in the way. That's going to be your problem you run into with small stuff. People with kayaks, the same thing. You got to keep stuff out of the way. Now I will tell you, vertical rods can be a problem. Storing them that way, you're going to rear back with a frog someday and the fish ain't there, it's going to come flying back, or you're going to set the hook with a plastic worm and have half the worm and it's going to come back and get into your rods. You know what, you're just going to have that. You got to deal with it. It happens once in a while. I still think it's better to put them up back there to get them back out of the way. Let's go up the front end, talk about the motor. Basic, real, simple Minn Kota 30-pound thrust trolling motor, Walmart, $100, if that. Now, one thing I did a video on this, I made a slight change. Motor on the front or motor on the back? Let's start there. Motor on the back, I started that way. You know, for you, it may work. For me, I hated it. I hated the motor behind me. I'm always reaching around like this, trying to adjust the motor. I just hated it. I wanted a motor on the front. The problem is that $99 trolling motor from Walmart is designed to go on the back. Go look for one that's designed to go on the front of a boat, and it's $200-300. Well, then one day I'm talking to Bob about this, and Bob said, well, why don't you just take the bolt out of the top, turn the head around to 180, and put the bolt back in? I go, you can do that? He goes, sure you can. Problem solved. So $90 or $100 Minn Kota 30-pound thrust trolling motor. Take the bolt out, spin the head 180, put the bolt back in, and you now have a rear-mounted trolling motor working on the front. Now, and I just had this last week, somebody asked me about this. When you put it on the front, does the back end want to come around when it's windy? And you better believe it does. The back end likes to swing around when it's windy. I don't have one. There's guys put rudder systems or stuff on the back to try to get it so the boat won't come around. That may work. You're going to have to look at other YouTube videos for that because I haven't done any of that. I'll show you in a bit on my depth finder why. But I will tell you, with the motor on the front, you get windy days, the back end wants to swing around on you. I don't tend to fish this when it's real windy because I'm out on my big boat instead. So it hasn't been a factor, but I have noticed it. It's just like people have said. You put a motor in the front, you're going to deal with the back end coming around. Check out some videos on the rudder system or the systems people are putting on the back. Maybe that helps. I don't know. As for me, is why I didn't go back there, and that's because I'm using the transom for my depth finder. I'm using a Garmin 4 is what I use. I love that because I can use it for ice fishing in the winter, and I use it on here in the summer. So the Garmin 4s work real well for me. As far as mounting it for the transom, I've been through 2 of these, and the first one gave out on me. So when the first one gave out, I didn't throw it away. I saved it, and I saved the components of it took the head off and took the bottom off, kept the shaft and kept the deal. And now that's my transom mount. Now I can go ahead, take my transom, mount it there. There's my transducer for the fish finder. It's on the back. That's probably why I doubt one of those rudders or whatever people put in the back, it'd probably interfere with that. So that's probably why I can't use it either. But that's the way I've got mine set up. I just took an old trolling motor shaft, set it on the back, works real easy. It's easy to take off, move it. Hey, if you got 2 or 3 boats or something like that you're using, that's kind of something simple. You can just take it off, move it over to another boat and come back with it again. What all you need? I got an oar down in there. You're gonna have to have an oar. Need a life jacket. And I'm gonna tell you now, you should probably wear a life jacket. These things are a lot more stable than anything in the way of kayaks or any of that stuff, but I'm still gonna disclaimer, you should probably be wearing a life jacket. I don't, so mine's sitting back in here. And what that means is I've moved my battery far to this side. My battery's not sitting in the middle. I shoved it far over to the side. Gives me enough room to get a life jacket up inside. I do need a throw cushion. I gotta have one of these. It can sit back there. I got room for that to sit back there. I got a small cooler will sit back there with a couple bottles of water. And then my lure box. I got room for all of that in. Now I'm using a milk crate, but this is not your square milk crate. This is a little more rectangle. But with that, it'll hold the 3,700 boxes. So it's a little bit bigger than the others. But the key is, whether you got the square one or the rectangle one, either way, you can get your seat over the top. So that works out real good. That'll sit low enough, your seat can fit over the top. Got all your lures down there, got you covered for that end of it. Now, when I'm fishing, here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna take 2 rods, and we're gonna put them back here. That's where we're gonna store 2. There is enough room to put a 3rd pipe in here and a 3rd rod. Your problems you're gonna have is there's really not gonna be enough room for 3 reels. You can fit them in there, but the reels are gonna be messing up with each other. So I stay with just 2 of them. I've got 2. All right, rod number 3. Rod number 3 is going on this side. It's gonna lay down in that side of the boat. And here's where we come into one thing. I still got rod 4. All right, here's where we need to talk about one thing. I am left-handed, all right? I'm left-handed, so I do things a little bit differently than maybe you will in your boat. And that is, I'm fishing off this side of the boat. I'm fishing off the right side of the boat. I'm left-handed. I like to fish this way. If you note, the reel's still right-handed. I'm still got a right-handed reel, but I cast left-handed, so I never have to change hands. For everybody that's right-handed, you cast like this, then you change hands and then you reel. I don't, I'm doing this. But what that makes a difference is, I like to go down a lake counterclockwise. Because I'm casting this way, I want to go this way and cast. You may be this way and you want to cast this way and reel and come off this side of the boat. So remember this, I'm left-handed, so what I say that goes on one side of the boat on the other may be totally opposite for you. Think about it for a bit, all right? But here's what I'm doing. I have my rod on the left-hand side of the boat because I'm fishing off the right-hand side of the boat. I'm bringing fish over. When I catch a fish and I bring him over the boat, I'm bringing him over this side. I've got my fish finder here. I do have that here, but I don't have rods, reels, or anything else laying over here. The only thing that's here is my fish finder. So I can bring it up. What that allows me to do is I bring a fish up, I'm lipping him with my right hand. As I lip him with my right hand, I can take this and lay it over there on that side, and I now got my fish. Now, on the right side is my pliers. If I need pliers to get a hook out, they're on my left side of my boat because I'm holding the fish in my right hand. If I'm fishing for something, well, I'll give you an example. Earlier this spring, I happened to pick up a muskie in this boat. Took me one of these to get that one up. Again, these should be on my left side because I'm going to switch over, grab that fish over here. So if I got a hold of a fish or doing something, I want this hand free. So in my case, my pliers, my clamp, any of that stuff is going to be on my left side. For you, maybe it's going to be on your right side. And if it's on the right side, you might want to move this to the other side. So just something to think about. You see how I've got it set up? But think, I'm left-handed. If you're right-handed, this might be totally backwards for you. But by setting it this way, I don't have a rod, I don't have lines, I don't have lures, I don't have things to get tangled up when I'm bringing a fish over the side of the boat. I've got 2 rods back here and 1 rod back there. And I'm fishing with the 4th one. So I don't have to, the only time I lay 1 rod on next to another one is when I'm bringing that fish in. Once I put him back out, then I can go ahead, if they did get tangled up for just a minute, I can get them back apart. But on a constant basis, I do not have 2 rods laying right next to each other. That you want to avoid, that'll avoid your problems. Just in case, all right, just in case. I'm doing a lot of filming for the videos, so while we're at it, let me show you what I do. Right up here, I have a galvanized floor flange. You'll find it in your plumbing section. There's another one back there. Drilled 4 holes. I put in your plastic anchors and put 4 screws, hold the floor flange in place. It takes 3/4 inch pipe. So there's a 3/4 inch pipe fitting there. There's a 3/4 pipe fitting in the back. I have your 1/4 inch thread, which fits your GoPro. All your GoPros fit on that. That's on the end cap. I can screw my camera onto that. And the camera sits here. Screw another camera on that. And one sits back here. And I have 2 GoPros, one in front, one in back. In my case, if you look at the videos that I'm filming, you'll always see I got a remote control because I'm running 2 cameras on a remote control. So I can hit the button, kicks on both cameras, runs both at the same time. So if you want to film your stuff, even if you're only doing one, you can set it up in front. You can just reach up and turn your camera on every time. So you don't have to necessarily do it, but if you want to film some of your fishing, it'd be real easy to put a GoPro right up in front like this. I used to have it in the middle up front, but that's when I had the motor in the back. So once I moved the motor up, I had to come and put it off to the side. But that's it, guys. That's how I set mine up from end to end and why I set it the way I set it. So hopefully if you're just getting one of these, if you're thinking of getting one of these, or if you've just been using a short time, think, why didn't I think of that? Maybe this video will help you out. Thanks for sticking with me. As I said, subscribe to the channel if you would. Hope to see you again real soon.